Hello everybody, today is January 8th and these pups are growing and doing great, and we're excited to present them to you and give you your first look at them. They are just in the middle of getting a little bit of nourishment from mama, so we're going to interrupt that here in a minute and let you get a close-up view of each one of them. We've got Miss Teal down here, and Miss Pink, Miss Purple, Mr. Brown, and Mr. Orange. So one of the benefits of getting a little video of them while they're nursing is they're kind of holding still and you can see their colors side by side. If you can tell in the video, I'm going to see if I can kind of move them around a little bit so you can see them side by side. These pups are very, very close in color. There's a little bit of variation, but it's very, very slight in their overall color. We don't have any that are very light, kind of strawberry blonde, really light, and none that are like super, super dark either. So between these five, they're pretty dang close in color. I would say right now we've got Mr. Orange as the darkest of the pups. We've got Mr. Brown here. He's all stretched out, going for some milk there. He's not super light, but he's just one shade lighter than everybody else. So Mr. Orange appears to be like one shade darker than everybody else, and Mr. Brown appears to be one shade lighter than everybody else. And then the girls are so close it's not even funny. When we look at them, they're just really, really close in overall color. So we'll see that trend probably continue into their puppy coats, which is still a little different than their adult coat that they'll get. But right now we can see a lot of what their long-term look is going to be overall compared to each other down the road. So we're probably going to start with the girls first. They're actually in order of the list, working right from left. I'm going to maybe let them nurse a little bit longer. I'm going to tell you all their weights right now, and then I'll show you all of their colors here in a second, all their differences in their markings in a second. So Miss Teal, right over here, at birth she was 0.72 pounds. Miss Pink was 0.81 pounds, and Miss Purple was 0.79 pounds. Mr. Brown was 0.85, and Mr. Orange was 0.70. So out of the group, Mr. Brown and Mr. Brown and Miss Pink were on the little bit larger side at 0.85 and 0.81. So biggest boy was Mr. Brown, biggest girl was Miss Pink, and then Orange, he was the smallest out of all of them and continues to be so at the moment. We'll see if that trend continues as they grow. Miss Teal was the smallest out of the girls, and then Miss Purple was right smack dab in the middle. So these pups were all born a very healthy size, and that's all normal. We're going to do the video of Miss Willow's pups here in a second. Willow's pups are bigger. Her pups in general tend to be bigger as a whole anyways. But Violet's pups are going to be a little bit smaller than Willow's, but they're not small according to the average puppy size as a whole. So Miss Teal, we'll start with her next. I may move the camera here for a second so I can get a good angle on looking at these pups, and we'll see. Let me kind of move this around a second, and then I'll get a better angle view for everything. So hold on 1 minute. Okay, I think I've moved the cameras ever so slightly. I think that will work for what we're trying to do here, and we'll show you these pups. So we'll start with Miss Teal, and I think they've all had a pretty good little drink here, so we'll pull her off and be the bad guy. So Miss Teal, for a girl pup, very healthy size, and on her markings, her chest appears solid on her markings, and she's gonna squirm a little bit. She's thinking, why are you moving me, and why can't I go find mama? So they're gonna wiggle here a little bit, but we've got Miss Teal with a solid chest, and she has the ever so slightest hint of a marking on her neck. There's just a few light hairs on her neck that'll probably be somewhat visible in her adult coat, but not very pronounced at all. And then on her toes, we're seeing that those appear to be solid as well. There may be just an ever so slight of a hint of a frosted toe around her toenails on a couple of back toes, but everything else appears to be solid. So that is Miss Teal. So next we'll go to Miss Pink and show you her. Sorry, Miss Pink, I get to be the bad guy, interrupt your lunch here. So this is Miss Pink, and she's gonna wiggle around too. So she's got a very light marking on her chest, if you can see that, and a little more pronounced marking than Teal on her neck, if you can see that. And Violet's gonna come into the picture here. I know, Vi, you love your pups, huh? Violet is doing great. She has just been mothering these pups just like we expect them to. She's just gonna come in here and inspect me for a second, make sure that I'm taking good care of them. It's okay, big girl. Okay, I'm gonna have you lay back down. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Vi. The pups need to be the star of the show right now, so you get to take a sideline for a minute. Good girl. So Miss Pink, let's get back to her. So she has a few more marked hairs on her neck and her chest, but it's very slight. But you will see that in their adult coats. She may have just a few light hairs down in her groin area as well, and so that's what we're seeing on Miss Pink. Her toes appear to be solid, not seeing much as far as any light frosted toes or anything like that. Oh, I will mention, we had the pups into the vet yesterday, had their tails and dew claws done. They're healing up great. So you'll notice that the tails have a little scab on the end right now, and that will heal up in just a couple of days. And then their paws have just the little scab at that little spot too, where they had the dew claws removed. So that is Miss Pink. Next we're on to Miss Purple here. We'll bring her out of the bunch. So she has on her markings a little more pronounced neck marking and a little more pronounced chest marking. So as it turns out, with the order of these pups, markings follow lightest to darkest markings on this order that we're presenting them in. That didn't happen on purpose, but that just happens to be the case. So Miss Purple, she's got the marked chest and marked neck there, and she also happens to have maybe a little more lighter spots on her toes. So Violet, can you get out of the camera shot for a minute? I know you want to give some loves to your pup. Do you want to give him some loves? I'm gonna have you lay down again, okay? You can inspect him in a minute. I'm taking good care of him. So that is Miss Purple. And next we'll move on to Mr. Brown. So Mr. Brown here, he's going to be a fun one for sure. So he has the most pronounced markings of all of the siblings in this bunch. So he's going to have some unique characteristics on his markings. Very nice individuality with him. So he's got the most pronounced chest marking, and you can see he's feeling a little picked on that I interrupted his lunch. He's ready to squirm back to mama. So he's got the most marked neck and most marked chest, and then the most marked groin area and the most marked toes. So he's going to have some little stockings on his back left toes, fairly pronounced markings there on those. And then his front paws appear to be solid. So Mr. Brown is the most heavily marked pup, and that's not a bad thing. A lot of people actually like the markings with their pups. It gives them a little bit of individuality with a breed that tends to be very monochromatic, and so nothing wrong as far as the markings go on that. His neck marking is just a little bit out of breed standard there, but the chest and toe markings are all within breed standards. So Mr. Orange, he's got his own markings too. His chest is very lightly marked, if any. We just get a hint of a few light hairs there. And then his neck, he's got a few light hairs, maybe about on par with Miss Pink. Not a lot of light hairs on his neck, and then he's got a few light hairs on his groin area there. And he put up a little bit of protest when I turned him over. He was feeling like he was ready to go back to mama too. So that is Violet's pup. There's pups, they're all doing great and wonderful that way. We've got them well taken care of, and we've had a little bit of a cold snap with our temperatures here recently. We're down into the single digits in the temperatures, and at the moment I'm actually sweating. These pups are just fine as far as heat goes. You can see that they're not in a puppy pile or anything. They're spread out and well warmed up and everything. You hear it in the background noise, I'm sure. We've got a little fan heater going. These pups are doing great, even though it's been a little bit of a cold snap and everybody's furnaces are just trying to keep up with everything else. And we've got the pups all nice and warm and taken care of and doing great. So we're excited to share Violet's pups with you, and next we will segue over to Willow's pups. So we'll do those next. Hey everybody, so we're doing Willow's pups next, and let me just get my notes out for her. I'm just noticing the lighting in here is different than Violet's, so hopefully that doesn't throw things off too much. But these pups are marked different with their ribbon colors. We have the chevron ribbons on Willow's pups, and we have the dot color ribbons on Violet's pups, so we can keep them separate. And honestly, it's not going to be too hard to differentiate between the two litters, even if they didn't have their collars on, because they're quite different. So Willow generally has smaller litters, and her pups come out a little bit bigger. So that in and of itself is going to be a primary differentiation for us, but we have the collar colors to lean back on if we need to. So we're happy to introduce these two girls and two boys to you. We've got Miss Pink in here and Miss Purple back under the pile, and Mr. Blue and Mr. Red. So I'm going to actually move Miss Purple out for a second so you can see them kind of side by side. I'll move them kind of in a little bit of a order here. There we go. I think we've got them. And see if I can tilt the camera down for us. And Miss Willow is just like the most attentive mama out of all of our moms right now. So we've got her 4 pups here, and she's gonna probably give me the stink eye every time I move one of them. But she loves her pups. She takes great care of them, and for that we're very grateful for her. So her puppy colors are also very, very similar. Not a lot of variety. Miss Willow, you gotta move your head so we can see Mr. Red. So not a lot of variety in their overall colors as well. Very slight differences that way. And so we're just gonna move right into their markings and what makes them different that way. So Miss Purple, we'll start with her first. She was 0.85 pounds. Miss Pink was 0.97 pounds. Mr. Red was 1.12 pounds. And Mr. Blue, not far behind, at 1.1 pounds. So all of these pups came out a little bigger than Miss Violet's pups did. And with fewer pups taking turns at the breakfast bar, then these pups will probably grow a little bit quicker as well, and generally be a little bit bigger overall over time. So we will show you these pups and their colors, and scoot Miss Willow's head out of the way here. So this is Miss Purple, beautiful pup. She has just a very light, oops, tipped over the camera, sorry about that. Sorry, let's try this again. Okay, my turn, Willow, my turn with the pups. So Miss Purple has a very light chest marking, very faint down the middle, but a definite marking that way. And then on her toes, she's got a heavily marked back left set of toes. It'll be kind of stocking toes there. And then on her back right, slightly marked, kind of frosted tipped toes that way. And that's all the markings that we're seeing on her to this point, is those. So they all went to the vet at the same time yesterday and did their appointment, and so all of their tails and dew claws got done at the same time, so they're all doing well. Miss Pink here, if I roll her back, she has the lightly marked chest as well. Her marking kind of runs side to side instead of up and down like Miss Purple's does. Her neck marking is more pronounced than many of the others, so she has more of a neck marking underneath the collar area there. And then on her back left foot, she has a marked toe there. And then on her back right, we're seeing just kind of some frosted tipped toes on her toes as well. So Mr. Red, he is up next. We'll bring him out of the group. Miss Mama here was just giving him some kisses. And so Mr. Red, if we tip him back, he's clear on his chest, and maybe just like a few light hairs on the neck, if you can see that. If I rub him back and forth, you can kind of see there's a little bit of a highlight there. Willow, you're gonna tip over the camera again. I gotta move you back here a second. I'll put your puppies over here, they can be close to you, and then I can have a turn with Mr. Red, okay? So everybody else is close, and my turn with Mr. Red. So Mr. Red, just the very slightest hint on his neck. I'll be curious to see if that's visible as his puppy coat comes in. Appears to be clear on his chest, and on his toes, his back left, maybe just a very slight hint of a frosted toe there. Appears to be clear on his other toes, and then on his groin, he's got some light hairs on his groin. So that is Mr. Red, and he's a hefty fella right here, growing well here just a few days after being born, growing very quickly. So Mr. Blue here, if I roll him back, he's got a more heavily marked chest area. His goes side to side, and then he's got some coming down here. So that'll be fun to have some individuality with him. And then he's got a slightly marked neck area there. And then his back left toe is heavily marked on some toes. And his back right, we've got some frosted tipped toes there. And maybe a couple frosted toes on the front. So we'll see how those turn out. But that is Miss Willow's pups. Just doing wonderful. They're growing great. And Violet is taking excellent care of her pups, and Willow's doing the same with hers. They're all staying nice and toasty warm with this last cold snap that we had come through. Gave us about 8 inches of snow yesterday and some really, really cold temps. But pups are staying all nice and warm, doing great, and being well taken care of by mamas. And so mama and pups are doing great. So we're just very pleased with all of them and are happy to share more about them with you. We'll post a video, an update video about every 7 days, maybe every 10 days, 7 to 10 days, we get a video out and show you the progress of their development. They change a lot if you're watching them each day in person, but from video to video, if we were to make a video every day, you would hardly notice the difference. But from a week to week difference on a video, you really notice that difference. And so you'll see them grow and develop, and we're happy to present these pups to you. So we wish you all the best wherever you are, and are excited to keep in touch with you about the progress of these pups. Talk to you later.